Welcome to Talking Live. I'm Dr. Robi Ludwig out of Star Shop Studio in Times Square, where we bring you the people you want to know more about. And you are definitely going to want to know about these two millennial girl bosses who are the co-CEOs and founders of Socialfly. So we have Courtney Spritzer and we have Stephanie Cartin. They're also the author of Like, Love, and Follow. So we're going to get into their story, their success advice for people who want to get into their own business. And I actually got to meet them when I was on their show. You have a show.
Yes, we have a Facebook show.
Tell everybody about your show, first of all, so they can find you and see you. Is it Wednesday morning?
Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
We're going back to our 10 a.m. time next week. So
Okay.
Every Wednesday at 10 on the Socialfly Facebook page. We do weekly social media tips, trending news. We also bring on special guests, and it's really to keep everyone in the know about what's trending on social media. And we give you the news you need to know.
And also lots of people follow you and look for you. I have to say, so when I first went to visit you, I was not shocked per se, but you have a large company. There are many people that work for you. They're all like young and good looking in this hip space.
Oh, and I love you for that.
No, but it's really true. I was looking around, I was like, I think I could come here every morning. Like they were in, and there was a nice energy there. And I asked you, I pulled you aside and I said, who are your investors?
That was the first thing you asked,
That was the first thing I asked, because usually when you see a company that is your size and their company is award-winning as well, there's somebody investing in it. And you said to me, nope, I did this all on my own and there are no investors now.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about your story, because you're two best friends, you have a unique story that I'm sure many people would want to know about.
So, Stephanie and I met actually in Miami through a mutual friend. We were both on vacation, and we quickly became friends and bonded over our love of social media. And then about a year later, Stephanie was looking for a business partner, and I was working at American Express. And I just fell in love with the concept of using social media to further your marketing. So American Express was forming partnerships with Facebook, Foursquare, and Twitter, and I was just so fascinated by everything that they were doing. And Stephanie needed a business partner, and we had opposite skill sets, so we partnered together, and we worked nights and weekends on the side of our full-time job for about 10 months. And then we quit our jobs on the same day, May 5th of 2012, and we never looked back.
You talk about in your book, which I really highly recommend, and I know you want to update it, but it's so conversational and really helpful, how you, Courtney, came from a family of entrepreneurs, which is unusual, I think, and how you were kind of instinctually an entrepreneur with your lemonade stand.
Yes, and selling Beanie Babies as well.
Right, successfully. Yeah. Do you think this love of business came from observing family members, or did you just have this sense that you wanted to do it on your own? Because there are a lot of millennials now who get a bad rap, who want to go out on their own, in part because they don't want to work for somebody else, but they don't have the same success story that you have.
So I would say for me, I just always had this entrepreneurial spirit from the time I could even remember. I was always selling something. I was always finding like what the latest trends were and figuring out how I could make money from them. So it was just something that I had a knack for from the time that I was very, very young. And it was interesting because, last year Courtney and I were working with this consultant to really figure out our brand and our story. And that's when it really hit me. I was like, wait a second. I remember selling these friendship bracelets and Beanie Babies and Pogs, and I was always on the forefront of all of these trends that were happening.
Did you use your intuition? Because I think in part that's what makes someone successful. It has to be a good match. But there's an intuitive component, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And really just following your instincts and having an idea and knowing it's a good idea and then being confident about it and pushing forward.
Would you agree? And now,
yes.
what did was it your
I would
mom or
say,
your dad was an entrepreneur?
Well, my grandmother actually.
Oh, gosh,
so,
wow.
My little backstory about my family. So, my grandmother is Korean, and she met my grandfather when he was in the war, and they, got together, had a baby, which was my dad, and then moved back to the States and ended up in the Bronx, and then. My grandmother, I would say, she was my inspiration growing up. I've never witnessed anyone work around the clock.
Wow.
And she had clothing stores. She had boutiques. And at one point, there were 7 of them in the Bronx. And I remember, and I have a ton of pictures of this, of me, growing up in the clothing stores, running around with my sister, running through the aisles, behind the cash register. And that's how I grew up. I just witnessed a really strong female entrepreneur, and I was inspired from day one.
It sounds like two with a very good work ethic.
Yes,
because for anyone who thinks it's not hard work, that's just simply not the case. And I was so impressed. Perhaps this has to do with my own issues, but when you said to me, Courtney, you're like, well, we're expanding. They expanded. You can talk more about the expansion. Yes. And you're like, so if you have to cut back during times of expansion, then you have to cut back. And I was like, that's a hard concept for me. But you two are very pragmatic. Mm-hmm. So you're expanding. Tell me more about your company expanding, because congratulations.
Thank you so much.
For us, since we didn't raise money and we signed bigger clients one after the other, and that's how we were able to grow and cash flow the business. We just always reinvested.
How did they find you? Now, I'm going to say it wrong. Karl Lagerfeld.
Yes, we did an influencer campaign for them.
Models.
Yes.
Who else hired you?
Nest Fragrances.
Oh, wow.
We've worked with 20th Century Fox,
Samsung Smart Things,
FullBeauty.com. Lots of big clients. So
I'm sure word of mouth.
Absolutely, yeah. But we practice what we preach. So we're the social media agency that does our own social media agency and our own marketing. So we're #1 on Google for social media agency, Social Media Agency NYC. So a lot of our leads are all inbound from businesses Googling because they're looking for an agency. They're finding us first, and then they're reaching out to us. They fall in love with us and our services and what we're able to offer. They see the great work we've done for other clients, and then they hire us to do their social media.
And also for me, if I'm hiring somebody for social media, I want somebody in your age group. Of course, when I met them, I wanted to adopt them as my soul sisters. But you want somebody who's young, who's used to social media and knows how it works. Like, for example, I was listening, I think, to one of your interviews, and you were talking about the difference between Facebook Live, Instagram Stories, and there's Snapchat, which I know nothing about, and I know I should. What's the difference? Do they target different people? Do they have a different power for different companies?
Yeah, so it really depends. We always tell businesses, depending on what your goals are, you should really determine what those are first, and then we figure out who your target audience is, and then what platform it makes the most sense to spend your time and resources on. So for Facebook and Facebook Live, if you're looking to target people who are 30 plus, Facebook is a really great platform for you, and they have the best advertising platform that is out there, so you can reach your exact target audience. If you're looking to reach millennials, Instagram is an amazing platform, and they also use Facebook's ad platform because Instagram is owned by Facebook, but you can reach your millennial consumer. So you want to first figure out what are your goals and who are you looking to target before you determine what your content strategy should be and what platform you should use.
You also talk a lot about the importance of influencers. And I've certainly heard that buzzword because it used to be back in the day, if somebody had a national name or a national platform, that would be enough to use them. That's not the case anymore. Now it's all about influencers. Yeah. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about how people become influencers, why they're so important, how you use them, how you find them.
Well, they're everywhere now, but influencers are really the celebrities of today. There's an interesting stat, and I don't know the specifics, but basically younger people, I think under the age of 10, recognize their favorite YouTube stars versus Taylor Swift and Bruno Mars. And that's really a testament to the world that we're living in today. Yeah. The people who have amassed such a big following on YouTube and Instagram are are really the most influential people in the world that
I'm just
we're living
laughing
in.
as you're saying this because I'm thinking about what my daughter said to me, who's kind of right in that sweet spot. She's 16. And I was asking her, I'm like, how does someone become an influencer? And she looked at me, she goes, it's not going to be you, Mom. She's like, it's not. She goes, you know why? I'm like, why? I'm like, please do tell me. I'm like, please do tell me. She goes, because you're not cool enough. She's like, they're cool people. They're the people you look at because you want to know more about their lifestyle.
So I'm going to disagree with your daughter.
Okay, good.
It all depends on who you're looking to influence. So you might not be influential to her peer group, her audience.
Right. Definitely not as her mother, I guess.
Exactly.
Right.
And even if you were, she wouldn't tell you that you're an influencer either because you're her mom.
Right.
But you're influential to a different subset of people. So depending on whether you are able to influence 5 people, 500 people, 5,000 people, 5 million people, that depends on obviously how many followers you have, how engaged your following is. But if you have an engaged following in a specific group, then you can be considered an influencer.
How do you tell the difference between, those fake followers? Because there are those people who it looks like they have a lot of people following them, but it's not real. And we talked a little bit about this because you have a lot of followers on your social fly, over 100,000. They're all legitimate, but there are people who pay for it. How do you know the difference?
A lot of people don't even know that you can pay for it, and
Oh,
this is
really?
something that we advise brands on all the time. So there are different things that you can look at. You can look at engagement rates. So if someone has 100,000 followers, but 2 people are liking their post, it's a good sign that they bought followers.
On Instagram.
On Instagram, yes.
Okay.
Or you can look at comments. So if a post is not getting a lot of comments, but they have over 100,000 fans, then that might be a sign that they bought followers. We also have software that'll tell us what their growth has been over the past few years, and if we see spikes, then that might be a sign. But I will say it's getting harder and harder to tell.
That's interesting. So how do you navigate that reality?
Well, when we're working with brands who want to cast influencers, we call ourselves the fake follower police because we do a lot of research and due diligence to be sure that we're casting influencers who have a real and legitimate following. So as Courtney mentioned, there's software that we use because we want to put the account into the software to see if there's fake followers. We can see where their followers are from, what country they live in, how engaged their following is, so we can make sure that they're real. Because for the brands that we work with, they want to be sure that if they're paying these influencers to post about their products and services, that they're going to get real measurable results.
And I could see where that would be really challenging, but it sounds like you have a method of dealing with it and you do your due diligence.
Oh, yes.
When did you say to yourself, I've really arrived? Did you have that moment?
I've never said that.
No? That's so funny. Yeah.
I have so much more to do. I feel like we're just getting started.
I feel that way too.
Can you appreciate the success that you've achieved so far? I appreciate where you're coming from because I don't know that I've ever sat back and said, I've arrived. I think when you're ambitious and you love what you do, there's always a there. There's never a there. There's always something else.
I think when Courtney and I moved into our now current office back last November, I remember no one was in the office, we sat there, we're like, wow, we did this, like we made this happen, and kind of just looked out at everything and got really excited and felt a little emotional, but as Courtney said, there's still so much more we have to do, so we've never settled.
I think I can just speak for myself, have to do a better job at, taking a step back and reflecting on how far we've come. We're so focused on the future that, to your point of your book, we don't really live in the now. We're always thinking about what's next.
So that would be
a better job of just appreciating this very moment.
Yeah, I mean, that would be my recommendation for you guys to just really just sit and appreciate what you've achieved while you're still pursuing everything that you want to do, because it really is the journey, and you want to look back and say, oh, I really appreciated that nice moment in time. But that takes practice, right? It's hard when you're ambitious.
How do we practice doing that? Like every day we have to just meditating to give a mantra to ourselves?
Well, it's acknowledging the strengths and the achievements that you've made, the people that you've met, the people who choose to hire you, looking around at your beautiful office. And I will say one other thing, because I can always tell a happy space. I feel like here's a happy space, but when you walk into your office, it's a happy space. It's a beautiful space, but there's a difference between a beautiful space and a happy space. And part of that has to do with what I think is a millennial mindset. You care about people's happiness, and you make that deliberate in terms of the office politics and policy. How do you keep that alive for the people who work for you?
I would say when Stephanie and I first started the business, we took the best of our corporate America experiences and brought them to Socialfly, and we really wanted Socialfly to be a place where people just loved going to work, because we both in our past jobs didn't necessarily wake up in the morning and say, oh, I'm so excited to go to work today.
I had days I would cry before I walked into my office in corporate America. So
it's restrictive, right?
For me, I didn't dread it, but at the same time, I wasn't like, well, let's go, I'm ready for work. And because we were starting our own company, we wanted our company to be that space for us and for other people. And I think we focus a lot on asking for feedback, asking, how can we better? How can we be better? And how can we make this space happier? I would never ask, how can we make this space happier? But I think ultimately that's what we're trying to do.
Because happy people can be productive and loyal and appreciative. Do you find that for the people who work for you? Do you have anyone who challenges or is snarky? Or
not really.
Okay.
I mean, we call ourselves a big Socialfly family. We celebrate basically everything, any type of social media national holiday or any birthday we're celebrating at Socialfly. So,
well, that's part of appreciating the moment, appreciating everybody's special day and special achievements. Do you have a favorite company or campaign that you worked on, one that really felt like it just flowed in the way that you wanted to or expected it to?
One that I remember was one of our first campaigns that we worked on. This was like 4 or 5 years ago, and we had started working with a ski lodge out in California, and it wasn't snowing that season when we first started working with them. And we did this campaign where we asked their fans to do a snow dance and submit their videos, and then the next week it ended up snowing.
Oh, wow.
So that's one that I
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah. Maybe it worked.
Maybe.
Yeah. The power of social media.
Right. It can make it snow. It can make
manifest
it
anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it must feel like that.
And then I would just say recently we're doing a lot of influencer campaigns for our clients. And one in particular that I think we're both really proud of is for a company called Leverett Clothing. So we reached out to a lot of mommy Instagrammers and had them take pictures of their kids in these pajamas. And it's just the most beautiful pictures of really happy kids, relaxing or having fun in their pajamas. And I'm really proud of that campaign.
Can you see from here? You can't see this.
You know what? You can send it to me and I'll show it. So, but these are adorable pictures. Now, are these professional pictures?
These are influencers who do their own photography.
So do they hire a photographer, or just some of them are very good on their own?
Some have their own photographer, or have just learned how to take pictures on their own, or they have Instagram husbands, which is a thing.
Oh,
do you know
what's
about
that?
This?
I don't. I feel like I'm so excited to learn this.
You give your phone or your camera to your boyfriend or your husband, and you make him take pictures of you wherever you go.
I
tried to get my husband to become an Instagram husband, but he wasn't having it.
No, he wasn't. I was really surprised too that Time magazine had the most influential women or people. It might have been women, and they chose a photographer who only took pictures on her iPhone because they felt it was more intimate. And I love that idea because there is something intimate about an iPhone photo. It just feels very calming. It's less, I guess intrusive, and we're used and produced. Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about the whole selfie, social media kind of mindset?
Jules on our team will tell me not to ever take a selfie again, but I like taking selfies.
Yeah.
And Courtney gets the most engagement in all of her selfie photos.
Wow. So what do you think they like about it?
A long time.
We'll have to take a selfie.
I've been really self-conscious about it, but
Jules is off
No,
camera
who made you self-conscious? Was it Jules? Jules will have to present herself later. She's hiding. She's hiding behind the camera
and turning red.
No, I mean, well, social media, even though it is our job, it is very uncomfortable sometimes, and still for me to this day to like really put yourself out there to share your
Really?
thoughts, to share what you're doing that day. So it feels so self-promotional.
Yeah.
But it's become the norm these days. It's kind of something that you
have
have to
to
get
Here's
over.
the question I have, because this has happened to me, and I don't know if it's happened to you. Not on a professional level, but on social media. They're the people that you love them in person, they're your friends, but the way they post or overpost or promote themselves, it makes you want to like defriend them just online.
Yes.
Have you ever
And
seen
you
that?
want
There's
to be
a
that person.
And I want to give everyone.
Right.
I also want to give everyone tips and saying like, oh yeah, don't use that hashtag on Facebook, or don't
Yeah.
post it that way.
Yeah.
And or don't post 10 times. But
right.
you have to keep your mouth quiet when it's friends sometimes. I
Right,
think.
and you have to think about how is
Yeah.
the other person experiencing it, which I'm sure you do as well. Well, we do, and did I highlight all the things that you're doing? Because I know that you're expanding. Was there something that I missed?
No, I
Did
think
we
we
get to it all?
One thing,
Go ahead,
we
tell
just
me.
took on more space, and we're
Okay.
building out a creative studio.
All right.
So we will be.
Do we have a picture? I think we have a picture of when I came right after. It was in your new studio, right
yes.
there. That was after I
Was
did
that
your
the new studio?
fantastic
We took a picture
show.
over there.
Oh, we didn't film.
We didn't film there.
We didn't
took a
film,
picture,
but we
yeah.
took a picture, so I got to see your new studio. And
Now it's all set up.
And it's all set
Yeah.
up. So we can see it during the morning
Yes,
show that
yes,
you
it's
do.
on our Facebook Live show.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Do you like doing the Facebook Live show?
It's my favorite day of the week.
Oh,
yes.
It's fun. You guys are
Yes.
so good at
I
it.
love it.
Do you see a TV show in the making, or is that irrelevant at this point?
It's basically our TV show.
Right.
Social media has replaced TV.
I agree.
So
It's
I
become its
agree.
own
We'll
version of
see.
TV.
Yes. And did you know that they're developing their own shows now?
So. Of course, Facebook Watch.
Oh.
They've already launched a ton of new shows.
Wow. So I think that is just so exciting. It really is exciting to see all these new trends and to meet people like you who are just successful with the right mindset and doing it in the right way. Because I think millennials get a bad rap. I'm sure you do too. And so you are certainly presenting the best of what millennials can be. But we do this little Q&A.
Oh boy.
Called Keeping It Real.
Okay.
So I'll let either one of you answer, whoever wants to answer, or you can both answer.
Okay.
What is a skill you'd like to learn and why?
is that a skill? If I would like to learn a new language, is that a skill?
Yeah, I think so.
Actually,
What
I'd also
language?
like to learn how to cook. I would like to learn how to cook by reading a recipe in a different
Very
language.
good.
That's good.
That's
Do you
so
have a different?
ambitious.
Do you speak at all
I
Korean
want-
at all?
No, but I would love to learn that. I would love to learn any language, but really I would love to learn Spanish. My mom's side of the family, they all speak Spanish, and my mom didn't want to teach it to me growing up because
Uh-oh.
she used that language to tell secrets in front of my sister and I.
How funny. All right, so you're going to have to learn just to spite your mom and know
Exactly.
everything she's saying. How about you, Stephanie?
Well, I was inspired last week when
Yeah.
our new director of HR told me she has been taking sign language classes. And I was like,
Oh.
oh my God, that sounds amazing. I would love to learn sign language.
That would be really cool. And
So-
there's also different language in sign language as well. Like there's Spanish sign language is different than French sign language. It's not like universal.
Wow.
Do you remember when they had that faux person do sign language for the president one time? It was for no, it was
real
in real life, and the guy
Oh,
was
they
and
weren't
they, and they didn't realize it, and it was very funny. Anyway, I'd like to do that. I'd like to do it fake for the news, just because it'd be funny. Okay, tell me the 3 best things about you. Stephanie, you can go first.
Oh my God.
3 best things about me. It's so hard because
There's so many.
no, I was gonna
Oh.
say because I'm not good at like talking about myself or saying
Okay.
things, but I'll try.
Mm-hmm.
I am ambitious, empathetic, and I guess driven would be close to the same as ambitious.
Oh, that's okay.
She's driven.
Driven.
She's driven 3 times
I'm
over.
really driven.
Are you driven?
I'm
Very driven.
I like to
All
make
right.
stuff
She's
happen.
going somewhere.
Right. Okay, how
She
about
doesn't
you?
like to drive.
Right.
Well,
that's
in the
good.
city.
Because it's dangerous.
Yes.
It's hard to drive in the city. It's like you could have a successful company, but driving in the city is
Yeah.
something else.
I'm a risk taker in business, but not in my personal life.
Right. You like to live, right? Okay. Tell me 3 best things about you, Courtney.
Best things about me. I would say I'm ambitious as well.
Yeah.
And I'm results oriented, and I love fashion.
Yeah.
I love
Well,
to style things.
I
okay.
like when she styles me and helps me a lot.
Oh, that's so nice. What was your favorite toy growing up?
My favorite toy growing up. It was actually my stuffed animal that I took everywhere.
Oh, okay.
His name was Big Guy.
Oh, that's good. I like that
What kind of
name.
animal was it?
It was like
You're planning for the future,
well,
right?
No, well, this is a sad story. I was in the hospital when I was younger, so I got it when I was in the hospital, and then I took it with me everywhere because it was like my security.
Oh,
Stuffed
that's
animal,
well. It
yeah.
had a positive
Yes,
ending.
yes.
Yeah,
Mine was Barbie.
I love Barbie too. Yeah, the one that you can make the hair grow, or did they already give that
yeah, I
up?
remember
The
those.
Barbie.
Yeah,
the,
it might not exist, when
My favorite part was just dressing her up.
dressing her
Like
up.
those cute little outfits.
Yeah, I know. She's great. She's a classic. Who would you like to live for a day like?
Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah, she has a good job.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Live for a day.
Or wait, can I have one more?
Sure. Why not?
Kate Middleton too.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to, there's so many
Although
I just
that would
wonder what that would be
Anyone.
like.
yeah. Although it would probably be a lot harder than you imagine
No, I'm
because
sure
of the
it would.
negativity.
I'm sure, and like everything has to be pre-planned, and it's probably such a
And
production.
I think Courtney looks like Meghan Markle.
oh
Do
yeah,
you
we
think?
talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, doesn't she? She's very glamorous. Yes.
I don't know. There's so many people. Any celebrity, I would want to,
Somebody
understand
with a
what
good
that's
hair and
like.
makeup team, right?
Yes.
That'd be good. Okay. What is this is so you can ask this about each other. What is your favorite thing about Courtney? Stephanie.
My favorite thing about Courtney, I have so many favorite things.
Okay.
Only one.
No, you can choose many.
I like that she